Hello, welcome. Thank you for watching this video. I'm Mrs. Kite, and I have the absolute pleasure of being your child's 8th grade science teacher. When the opportunity arose for me to be able to teach 8th grade this year, I absolutely jumped on the chance because first of all, I just really adore this group of kids, and I felt last year that they got taken away from me for a little bit. So I'm really excited to have seen so many familiar faces in my class, and I'm really looking forward to another year with this fabulous, amazing group of kids. And if you are new to me, hello, welcome. And I'm so glad that I also have the opportunity to get to know some new 8th graders. So a little bit about my class, just so you know what's coming, what's to come. In terms of materials and supplies, the most obvious, of course, is their computer. So please make sure that when they're using their computer that they have access to their charger, or that their computer is fully charged, because nothing's worse than your computer dying in the middle of your Zoom meeting. They do need writing utensils, pencils, pens, whatever they prefer. I am asking again this year for a 100-page spiral-bound notebook that is college ruled. I'm really hoping to try to give them some off-screen time, so the notebook is going to be an opportunity for them to show what they know via notes, drawings, concept mapping, and so on. And I'll have them take photographs of their notebook and send those to me so I can see what they're doing. Typically, when we're in class, I provide rulers and colored pencils to them, but because they're at home, I do need them to get those supplies. So the ruler, I absolutely require metric measurements on the ruler. This is not anything unusual. It's a pretty typical thing to have both centimeters and inches on a ruler. So please make sure that their ruler has metric measurements and that they have access to colored pencils for when they're doing things in their spiral notebook. Important resources for you. First of all, my website. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. So my website is accessible via the Olympus homepage. So once you're on the Olympus homepage, you will go to the staff directory, and all of the teachers' pages are linked here. So we'll go to Leela Kite, visit my site. Currently, it's kind of a skeleton site right now, but just a little bit of background information about me. So the things that are important here are the 8th grade science calendar link. And I had all of my students click on this. I think it was actually just the very first day of school. And once you click on it the first time, it's going to ask you if you want to add it to your own Google Calendar. So if you're the type of person who would like to see what's going on in each of the classes, you could actually add all of the teachers' calendars to your Google Calendar, and everything that I put on the calendar is homework related. So if they have an assignment that's due tomorrow or the next day, I will put it on the calendar, and then they will use the calendar like it's their school planner. And the beauty is, if they've subscribed to all their teachers' calendars, it's all right there on their own Google Calendar. So make sure that they have done that, but we did it in class already. I have the Clever button there for them. So Clever is their one-stop hub for all of their various subscriptions. So when they go to Clever, they have all the little apps there that they can click on. And then Google Classroom, of course. And then I also have my list of supplies. So that's my website. Another important resource, of course, is Google Classroom. So when we go over to Google Classroom, I'll pull up an 8th grade class, because I also teach 7th. Google Classroom is a great, well, it's actually the resource that they're going to be using this year, particularly for distance learning. Things that they'll see when they open up their own site, it looks a little different from the student end, but an important piece is on the left-hand side, it'll tell them what's coming up in terms of things that are due. And then if you go over to classwork, it has a list of all the things that have been going on. And then I also make use of categories. So as school continues, the classwork tab is really going to be where they want to go, because it's going to be very organized and it will help them really see what's going on. So I try to train the kids to just ignore the stream and just go right over to classwork. So that's the second major resource for distance learning. Next, the textbook. So we just adopted a brand new textbook, and it is called TCI Bring Science Alive. It is virtual, so it's all going to be online, and it is also what we piloted in the spring. So if you were with us last year, we started using TCI about 2 weeks before the school got shut down, and the kids got used to how to use it online, and then it was a beautiful transition because it is a completely online program. We do have hard copies. This is a photograph of the actual hard copy of the book, but they're only in class. So the book itself is in the process, our texts are in the process of integrating the subscriptions for the students into Clever. So it is not quite ready yet, but I'm not super worried because we're in such the beginning stages of school. So really these first couple weeks are, you know, getting our feet wet and getting our skills down and learning all the procedures and policies and so on. Once the book is ready to be used, I will definitely train the kids on how to do it, how to use it. And then I'll also push out a video for parents so you can see how to navigate through the textbook. The great thing about this textbook is that it is integrated. So we are following the next generation science standards, which are integrated standards, meaning that every grade level teaches a little bit of earth science, a little bit of life science, and a little bit of physical science. 8th grade definitely is a little heavier on the physical science portion, but there is some life and some earth integrated within, just like every grade level. And the way that the TCI book is laid out is by what they call segments, and they're integrated segments. And the segments each have an overarching storyline or a topic that they all follow, and then all of the subjects underneath integrate into that storyline. So here are the 6 segments in the 8th grade curriculum. The first one's called The Speed of Objects and Waves. So just that very nature of that topic shows you that that's pretty physics heavy. The next one, Modeling Light in the Solar System. So talking about astronomy, but also talking about how light travels. So the first, the speed of objects and waves is mechanical waves. And then the second one here is electromagnetic waves. Non-contact forces influence phenomena. So this also has a little bit of Earth's processes in here. Next, we have major collisions in the history of life. So here, again, history of life, we talk about the fossil record and geology and so on. Next, we have evolution explains life's unity and diversity. So here's we're talking about change through time here. And then finally, sustaining local and global diversity. So looking at how the diversity of organisms on Earth benefits us as Earth. So really fascinating stuff. Grading. So this year, I've decided to split up grading into 3 categories, and those categories are skills, concept knowledge, and participation. Skills would be things like, do you know how to create a graph? Do you know how to read a data table? Can you follow directions? So basic skills like, are you even measuring? Do you know how to measure something properly? So those would be all skills. And in Power School, when you see grades, you will see a skills-based grade would be something that, you know, again, I'm just testing them on their ability to perform that particular skill. Concept knowledge, that would be, do they understand the actual concepts in the text? And then finally, participation. This is a big one for distance learning. So participation is not just being here on the screen, but it's raising your hand. It's talking out when we're on our Zoom. It's typing into the chat if I have a question for you to answer. It's going into breakout rooms and having a conversation with your group members. It's turning in your work on time. So participation is all encompassing of all those various items. So again, in Power School, when we start putting in grades, you will see them delineated by these 3 categories. If you need anything, you have any questions, of course, email is the way to go. So we all have the same ending to our emails at eurekausd.org. But my first name is Leela, so it's lkite@eurekausd.org. And I've noticed these 8th graders are really great about emailing when they're having questions. Something to remind your student that when they are emailing their teacher, they need to use proper spelling and grammar. So if they're writing, I am having trouble, I needs to be capitalized. So I will be going over that with them as well, but just something to get used to is writing a formal email with proper spelling and grammar. All right, again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know if you need anything. And I am really looking forward to this year with your fabulous, amazing, wonderful children.